Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Real Talk with ZTS, where we, as brothers, search for ways to share our voices while having a good time just talking, having those real talk conversations, our shared experiences, and reacting to random topics and articles. As we always say, we all have something to share, and we look forward to sharing and building that community of stories that we can all relate to. Now enjoy the episode.
What's going on?
What's up, man?
Not much. Just woke up from a nap, so still tired, but it's good to check in with you. Say hello.
For sure, man.
How's today?
It was a nightmare. No, I'm just kidding. It was fun. It's like 200 cheerleaders on campus. So,
Yeah.
check-in process went far smoother than last year. Last year it was like 3 hours long. So, pre-planning and doing all that stuff over the past year and trying to make things smoother worked out. I think tonight, or today rather. So we got through it in about 45 minutes, which far cry from last year. So that's good.
Nice.
Similar hiccups in keys not working, or it's just user error, but there were some keys that actually didn't work. So
Yeah.
So I mean, we, like I said, we made it work and did all that stuff, but fairly smooth. So like, can't complain.
Yeah.
Bring a confetti balloon in, that popped. So that's great, even though, contract says confetti and glitter is banned. But two things that are like almost impossible when you have cheerleaders, because they have leotards and all that stuff that are just covered in glitter. So,
Jeez.
Yeah. So it's kind of a nightmare in that sense, more for the cleaning staff, not necessarily for me, but it's almost like, well, I should probably charge you extra for all the cleaning we got to do with all this glitter and all that stuff. But
yeah,
I digress.
That kind of leads us to kind of like a few of our articles for the night. I mean, it's keeping it short and sweet tonight, but it kind of reminds me of, were you affected by that CrowdStrike global tech outage that everyone suffered?
I was sending memes that day. It was like the memes were
I probably missed those memes then.
Yeah, it was like everyone else around you, computer is down.
Yeah.
You're not affected by the CrowdStrike, and I'm like,
I actually
like that lady throwing a laptop.
Yeah. I actually wasn't affected by either. I also just happened to have that day off. So I took that day off because I had to run a lot of errands that day. It was one of those days where like your week was so busy and you couldn't make up for it over the weekend. So I was like, I had to take that day off, went to go get my car serviced, just running a lot of errands to get it done. And that's when the CrowdStrike was happening. So it didn't really impact me at all. But I was just curious because CrowdStrike, I mean, like more and more, especially when it gets close to our US elections, more and more like you get these companies being revealed. And conspiracy or not, we're not going to talk about conspiracy, but it's just like you start like, these big companies worldwide starts being unraveled. And CrowdStrike, I've never heard of them before. And then you find out that they're one of the biggest like cybersecurity companies in the entire world. Because we always think about like levels to security, right? Like I'm not going to talk about like Illuminati level type shit, but I'm talking about like stuff that where's all our data? At what level does our data reach the top of like the security cloud? And CrowdStrike is like one of those like top tier mountains. If they go out, like, do we have a backup plan for like all of our world's security? And what's crazy is CrowdStrike is number 2 largest. Apparently there's another bigger company that is even bigger than CrowdStrike that like basically owns more of our cybersecurity stuff. So it's crazy to think about. I mean, as I get older, I think a friend of mine who I remember when the cloud was kind of a thing, like put everything in the cloud, right?
Yeah.
Um, I remember like I was always like, oh no, I gotta save everything to like a literal hard drive. And and then like, a buddy of mine was who was like all cloud everything, and at the time was like, it's so much easier to go cloud because to be honest, you have nothing to hide that, you know, that hackers and government spies haven't already seen what you've done. Plus, you aren't famous enough to be hacked. There's no,
Yeah, that is so true.
yeah, and so it's like you're right. I don't need to store a physical library of these hard drives that contains like files of my childhood homework, like what am I backing up files for when it could easily be accessible from anything online that I like, God forbid I lose my laptop, cell phone in a flood or some natural disaster or get stolen, whatever. But then I could just buy a new laptop, new phone, and I'll easily have access to everything again as if nothing happened. And I'm able to wipe clean anything that got stolen, from just access to the internet, right? And so,
True.
but then again, what do I know? What if CrowdStrike gets hacked and whatever that major cybersecurity hacks and we just don't even have access to Wi-Fi anymore to access any of your stuff. But at least I wouldn't worry about, the least of my worries is someone having access to my stuff. It's just
Yeah.
more of like I can't have access to my stuff anymore because, you have these two dominating companies that owns pretty much all our data.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking of you. I guess I must have missed those memes. I mean, I had a really crazy weekend, so I haven't really got a chance to like look at those memes. Um, I'll take a look at them, but I was wondering about you the most because it's like I know like you have been having a busy time at work, and I was like, dude, that will fuck shit up a lot. Yeah, I mean, think of
Yeah.
all the airlines right now.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I mean, look at
I only
Delta.
know because
That's crazy.
yeah, I only know because my stupid threads only shows me a lot of airplane horror stories, and one of them is still talking about CrowdStrike affecting like Delta and stuff like that. Um, where like people are still stranded at airports even today. Um, or haven't even left like their departing city or whatever.
Yeah. I know it's crazy. I think the stat was like they've
Yeah,
canceled as many flights as they did for 2 years or something like here. Let me
that's
look.
crazy,
What did
man.
I read earlier? Want to know how bad Delta's meltdown is? The airline has now canceled 5,370 flights and counting since Friday. That's more flights than Delta canceled in all of 2018 and all of 2019, too.
They were
5,343.
Yeah.
2 years
What was
worth of
it?
cancellations in less than
Jeez.
5 days. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, now they're gonna put it on us, and make flights more expensive and seats more narrower in the hallways or the aisles. Yeah. But anyways, no, I was reading something else where or maybe I was reading something unrelated, but I'm sure it impacts like um store supply chains too. I think that was another big thing where like shipments and stuff like that was being affected. So that's going to impact, like the typical supply chain as well is going to back it up, creating even longer delivery times for certain companies.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Or and I think I saw the memes. I think like everything globally was affected, but then like Microsoft like Outlook and Teams are still working and people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Just kill this one too. Why but yeah, no, I was off that day, so it didn't really pack me anyways. But that was crazy to think about as I was like watching the world on fire pretty much.
Pretty much, man. I know. I
Yeah.
was just like, everyone's like, "Oh my god, my laptop, oh my computer," like at work, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's funny because it only affected some of the people at work, and then like one of my bosses came in, they were just like, "What are you guys doing? Playing games over there on your phone?" I'm like, "No, I'm just taking a break for a minute," and
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, your laptop works?" I'm like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Oh, mine's fried," and I was like, "Oh god."
Jeez. Yeah, I heard like some people's laptops were like blue screen, which is
Oh
that
yeah,
is
no, I
really
mean that's what it
crazy.
was. It was just crazy
Yeah.
to see, like, because like all the blue screens on computers, laptops, and then
Yeah.
everything that runs, like, half of Times Square was just blue screens.
That's crazy.
It's
Yeah, no,
crazy.
I can't even think of that.
I was like, damn, this is literally a movie. What do we do? This is the beginning of the end. No, I'm just kidding.
What was it? Now that I think about it, now that you mentioned Times Square, um, I was just on Threads again. Fucking crazy that Threads is like the new Twitter, but like the poorer version of Twitter. Fucking hate it. Because remember I sent you that text I was so mad about. I was like, this is what I'm fucking talking about. And the people who replied on Threads had exactly my sentiment. And I couldn't formulate in words the first time I was telling you last week when I was telling you
Yeah.
about my using a Threads. And that's exactly what it is that you had a bunch of people who were unknown on Twitter who wouldn't be like, found on Twitter because their communication sucks, moved over to Threads and populated Threads and sucks at communicating even more in their writing. And that's what you get is Threads. The majority of people sucks at communicating. Oh my God. Yeah. For those, for context, for those listeners, if you listened last week, I was using Threads, and so I was telling Tyler how I was pretty angry at like how everyone kind of sucks at writing on Threads, and plus like a lot of the posts have no context. It's like a lot of people assume that everyone always knows what you're talking about. No, dumbass. So, anyways, after we finish our episode, I happen to go on Threads again. Um, yeah, I know people might be saying, well, then why the fuck are you on the app? I don't know. It's addicting, right? It's social media. And so, anyways, I go on the app, and there was this story that just showed up on like one of my feeds, random feeds, where it was just a random picture of like apparently a celebrity going into this crowded restaurant. You just see the back of the head, so you can't even tell who the celebrity is. And it goes something like, we need to leave this person alone. They are human too, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's it. They didn't even, it wasn't even like a follow-up story in the comment section. That was it. And one of the comments summed it up perfectly. My sentiments was like, they just wrote in caps, who?
Ooh.
And it was just like, exactly. No one knows who the fuck you're talking about. And then someone else commented below saying like they were like, thank God someone said this because they're so sick and tired of people on Threads sucking at communicating. And I'm like, thank you. This is what I've been trying to articulate. Um, and apparently it's very common. If you go on a lot of like very vague posts, um, at least one or two commenters will say the same shit. Like, I hate how Threads is so vague. It's so, yeah, it's the worst communicators. Left Twitter. No. The best communicators are still on Twitter or slash X, even though it's a dump fire. Um, Threads is like better overall, I would say, in terms of like finding like new stories to read about.
Yeah.
But it's like the you get the shittiest humans on X slash Twitter, but you get the dumbest humans on Threads. Like, oh my god, it's Threads is like I don't know, like like Twitter for like uh like preteens, but then you realize the people who's actually writing are like 40-year-old adults. It's like, what the fuck? God, man. I hate Threads. But yes, I'm still on it, so fuck me too, I guess. I can't get over it. Anyways, moving on. Check this out, dude. Fun fact of the day. I don't know if you knew this, and this is fucking mind-blowing to me, but it is factual. Fun and factual. Do you believe that um so a soccer goalie box, the yard box, you know, You know what I'm saying? So if you can imagine that, so like a regulation professional goalie box, which is the small box that the goalie is typically in, and then the larger box, right, with the half circle at the top.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
So, fun fact, that right there is 7,000 square feet. That's not the fun fact. All right. It's roughly 7,000 square feet. A regulation basketball court, NBA basketball court, is roughly 4,500 square feet, smaller than that goalie box. Um, that's mind blowing to me. Do you believe that? Like visually, I can't fathom that. Even because I played soccer, so I played basketball, right?
Yeah.
Um, so by the way, the basketball court is just the regulation field. We're not including the sidelines. If we're including the sidelines,
Yeah.
it is a roughly about the same square footage. So it is about as large as the goalie box, which is still hard to fathom,
So we're
right?
talking about the goalie box, not the penalty box, like the
Not the
penalty
penalty
area.
box, the entire goalie box.
No, the goalie box is just the.
Oh no. So I'm talking about the penalty box. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
the
So
bigger
the
box.
whole box, because the
Yeah,
arc is the.
with the arc. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
though that's like yeah. So excluding the arc, but the
Right. Right.
rest of the
Right.
bigger rectangle is like almost the NBA basketball court is only like 2/3 the size of that. You could fit the basketball court and you'll still have a third left, you know, of the goalie box or the penalty box is what I meant.
Yeah.
It's physically hard to fathom, right? But if you
No.
look at the
Yeah.
dimensions,
Yeah. I was gonna say
yeah,
now you mention it, I'm like, no, that's about right. I feel like that's right.
which is crazy, right? Because like you're watching an NBA game, or in my case, you're watching Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, and you're
Yeah.
like, yes, we do fathom, we do understand that a basketball court is roughly smaller, but then when you like transpose it into a soccer penalty box, you're like, wow, the penalty box is huge. And I played soccer more all my life. And when you're physically on the field, it doesn't feel that big. It really doesn't. But I
Uh,
guess it is incredibly big.
well, yeah. I mean, you have to think
Yeah.
about like, yeah, because I mean, a penalty box is
It's about
it's
40 roughly 40 yards by 18 yards.
yeah.
Um
I was gonna say because if
which is a
you
lot,
it is it, when you
yeah.
think about it, it's like, oh, it's not that big. But then if you think about it more,
In
you start
numbers, right? In actual
in
dimensions.
numbers, because if like
Yeah.
because like if you go to Lumen and it's like September,
Yep.
both the Seahawks and the Sounders are both playing.
Yeah.
So there's like, you can still see the paint from either the
Yep.
football field or the
Yeah.
soccer pitch on there, and you can see where the box is, and you're just like, damn, that's big. Because like if you play
Yeah.
football,
Yeah.
you know how big the end zone is too.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's just like,
But
oh geez. And it's
yeah.
because I'm like, oh wow, that is kind of insane.
But
But
it's
no, I
crazy
mean,
because like to
yeah,
fit like a basketball court in it is mind blowing to me. Um, you know, because you
yeah.
because what was that one classic that happened most recently? Um, it was Caitlin Clark in college in Iowa. Did she play like a major game
Mhm.
at a football stadium, right?
Yeah, it was Iowa's
Yeah.
football stadium.
Oh, okay. But you still though, like you could see like, you know, they shrunk the field down to fit the basketball court. And no one bats an eye. But then if you zoom out and transpose that court in the context of a football field,
Mhm.
that barely covers anything on the football field. Like, and it's like when you look at the numbers, you're like, it makes sense. That's basketball court is actually very, very small. But then it's just hard to fathom, right? Because you never, well, at least for me, when I learned this fun fact, I just never thought of it in the context of each other. And it's like, geez, a basketball court is tiny.
No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because you're like, when you think about a basketball court, you're like, oh man, that's huge. But like when you're in like a basketball, like you're in a court, right? Or you're
Yeah.
watching. It's crazy when you think about it, right? Because when you go into like a gym or a gymnasium or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're in there, you're like, man, this is big. But then you actually look at the actual outline of the court and you're like, okay, this is still big because, like, whatever. But, at our size, we're fairly just average humans.
Yeah.
Um, it's like, oh, okay, it's long. But when you go watch like a WNBA game or like an NBA game in person, like these guys are literally getting from one end of the court to the other in like 10 steps. And you're just like, how the
True.
hell do you fit all these people on here?
It's true.
So like, yeah, when you in the scheme of things, because those are, giant human beings because they're 6'5" and over mostly.
Yeah.
Um, I think it also puts into perspective just how big of an area that a keeper has to
Yeah.
defend, right?
Seriously, dude.
So when you think about it, it's like that, just the not the penalty box, but just the goalie's box.
Yeah.
Like that's what 2/3 the size of a basketball court, at least
Yeah, dude.
lengthwise. I'm
Yeah.
like, that is a lot of area to cover for one person.
Right. And you
So I'm
don't,
just
yeah, you
like,
don't
damn,
consider that. And that kind of blows my mind even more about how athletic, a goalie is, you know?
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
that I mean, but that puts things into perspective too, because like if you think about it, it's like on like a PK, like that is a shit ton of ground to carry or
Yeah.
cover rather,
Yeah.
for a PK, because that's like, damn, this guy's taking a penalty shot, and I gotta
Yeah.
basically dive to my left or my right or stand center, depending, I
Yeah.
guess, if you're lucky. Um,
Yeah.
but you have to basically be able to dive the length of a basketball court. So that's crazy to think about, actually.
Well, here's a question I just thought of. And it could be my ignorance too. It could be a no competing type question, but I'm actually curious. Since you experience both and you understand both, and for me, I kind of lack baseball a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
what do you think is harder? Blocking a PK, a penalty kick, or hitting a baseball from a pitch?
Hitting a baseball is extremely difficult.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
know how difficult it is too to hit a baseball. So that's why I'm like, um, are they kind of on similar categories? Blocking a PK versus I maybe. Well, I don't know, because I haven't played against a professional, but if I was to go out with you or some of our boys and kick a soccer ball around and someone wants to, and I'm in the goalie box trying to block a PK,
Yeah.
I think I can do it more often times than not. But then again, if maybe not you, but let's say Jomar pitched me a ball, I think I could hit it as well. So so but like on a professional level. So I'm talking about like Messi kicking a penalty against one of the best goalies versus I don't know. Excuse my ignorance again, but like Otani throwing a pitch. I don't know who the best pitcher is in MLB right now. Whatever the best pitcher is,
Yeah.
throwing a pitch, you know, who has it harder? The batter who's getting the pitch from the best pitcher, or the goalie who's trying to stop Messi's penalty kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's hard, right?
yeah,
Because, man.
yeah. Because I played like a little softball, not lately, but like back in the day when we were in school and we played more sports, like even with my cousins or something like that. And whether it's an overhand pitch or like an underhand softball pitch, I can hit it. Pretty. I would say pretty decently. I'm not gonna say like I'm competitive as you are, but like maybe not you pitching it to me, but someone else, like I don't know, Joe Mar, love you, Joe, but pitching to me, I can probably hit that 9 out of 10 times. Um, and even with a penalty, especially Joe Mar again kicking the ball, I could probably block it 10 out of 10 times. But you know what I mean though. So on a pure world class level, who has it harder, the goalie blocking Messi or the batter trying to hit a pitch from the best pitcher in the world,
Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. I
Yeah.
mean, and so many people would say like the hardest thing in the world to do is hit a baseball.
people like I heard that people say that like the batters, professional batters are so good that their reaction is so quick. Like you literally can't you even for them, correct me if I'm wrong, but they physically cannot see the ball. It's just that their body reactions that quick to hit the ball, and time it perfectly, right?
Yeah, I mean that plays a part into it.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can see the pitch, you can see it coming.
Yeah.
It's just hard because like comparing the two, like obviously different sports, but
Right, right.
a keeper, half the time you're guessing, right? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
exactly. It's
in a
50-50
PK
pretty much.
situation, you're pretty much guessing. Like if it's not
Yeah.
a PK and it's like, they're just shooting from the outside of or the edge of the box, maybe,
Yeah.
outer box, not the goalie
Yep.
box. The likelihood of you, saving or deflecting or doing something, it's going to be a lot higher versus just a PK, which is literally like,
It is pretty
you're
50-50.
right there and
Yeah.
it's literally just a 50-50. One, you got to guess which way they're going.
Yeah.
And two, like, well, there's no two. It's really just a guessing game. Hopefully you have
Yeah.
a strong enough wrist essentially, because even if it's just at the edge, if your wrist isn't strong, it's going to bounce right off and go in.
Right.
And like I said, I think that's hard because it's such a large area to cover.
Yeah.
But hitting a baseball, which, a baseball, I don't have one. I thought I had one next to me, but hitting a round object with another round object is
Yeah.
extremely difficult in, in the grand scheme of things. But then you also have to consider the fact that, there's different pitches. You know what I mean? Like
True. True.
usually the soccer ball coming at you, like, yeah, there will be some bend to it or some spin, something of that nature. But from a PK perspective, it's not going to really, you're not going to really bend or anything like that from right there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Versus like a baseball, like take Otani or even some of the relievers, or hell, even Paul Skeens, the pitcher for Pittsburgh. He's pumping a fastball in there at like 102, 103 miles an hour,
Jeez.
which your
Yeah.
reaction time is just like, it's just like, oh shit. Okay. Well, that was quick. And I can speak to seeing mid 90s to, like high 90s when I played. It, shit gets on you quick.
Jeez.
Like you have to make up your mind like ahead of time.
Yeah.
On where if you're going to swing, if you're going to be, because that's the other thing. This guy can throw you 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and then the next pitch he could throw you a 75-mile-an-hour curveball.
Yeah.
And then it's like your weight distribution is way off because you're expecting a fastball, so you're geared up for it already. So now you're leaning forward, trying to hit a fastball, but now it's like hanging in the air, so you have to adjust, and then you have a weak swing, and then
Jeez.
yeah. So the movement of the ball, that's the other thing. It's like you're either going to get a fastball, you could get a curveball. There's two different technically three different types of curveball. Well, there's more than that actually.
Yeah.
Because you got a 12-6 curve that goes like up and then down.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
have just a normal one that goes like that. And then you have a knuckle curve, which dances a little. Also, a knuckleball is ridiculous if you've ever seen a knuckleball, because most of those guys only throw that thing at like 60 miles an hour and that thing doesn't spin. So it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
dancing all around. And you're like, what the hell? I mean, a catcher can barely catch a knuckleball because they don't know where it's going to go. So
Yeah.
that's even harder. It's like the batter doesn't know where the ball's going, and your catcher's not doesn't know where it's going. It's like how does one hit a knuckleball like consistently if the catcher can't even catch it? So
I feel like there's a lot of similarities though
oh
between
no, yeah, there's
baseball.
similarities in
Yeah, and
reaction
soccer.
time.
Yeah.
I would still say that baseball is harder,
Yeah.
in the sense that you have like hitting wise, because again, like that ball can be going anywhere from 60 to 100 miles an hour,
That's
depending on
crazy.
in the different movements. Because like you can throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but if it's a two-seam fastball, that thing's going to be like just as quick, but it's moving towards you almost.
Yeah.
Depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, but
Yeah.
because that thing is going to tail, and it's disgusting. I should start sending you guys like how they do overlays of the same
Yeah.
pitcher throwing different pitches, and it's like, what
Yeah.
the heck, dude? Yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
send that our way, man.
yeah, it's hard because it's like, damn. I'm like, I think I could get I think I could make contact off of an MLB pitcher. Um, I could say the same thing about, obviously, like I could probably touch a ball that Messi kicks, unless
Yeah.
he's fucking. And we're saying Messi, but any soccer player that has perfected their PK and can go top corner on either
Yes.
side, there's no
Yeah.
fucking way. No one can
Yeah.
block that. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. If you
That's
keep it
true.
low, you can get it. If you keep it mid, you can get a hand on it. But
Yeah.
if you're hitting top corners, there's no fucking way. That's
Yeah.
like the most like unblockable shot that you can have as
Yeah.
someone who kicks PKs. Um anyways,
And
I
no,
digress on
that'll be a
that.
good. I think that'll be a good debate for like our sports buddies, just to figure out.
Yeah, I
Um.
mean, in being a keeper, like honestly, that's a different mindset. You gotta be fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These guys are kicking this ball hella hard from a very short distance, and you gotta guess which way it's going correctly, and
Yep.
then you gotta hope that it's like if you're diving and trying to outstretch, you gotta hope it's not coming right at your chest. I mean,
Right.
you still gotta block it, but regardless, I think being a keeper in general, I mean, it takes a pretty
Yeah.
savvy or crazy
Yeah.
person to do anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things. I didn't mind playing keeper when I played a little bit. Um, just because I don't know. I liked defending the goal rather than running
Yeah.
around sometimes. But I mean, coming from a guy that played basketball, football, and baseball too, it's just like, you pick your poison, or pick and
Yeah.
choose what you're doing, because like you're gonna
Yeah.
be moving either way. I definitely didn't mind being midfielder and all that stuff, but like I don't know. There's just something about being a keeper, because like you can be a good keeper, but like it's your team really that's gonna. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
obviously in all sports you got to rely on your team, and if your back four suck, well then,
Yeah.
fuck, dude, you're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, you got if
Yeah.
your center backs, if they're horrible, oh, well, good luck.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Then at that point, but you know, everything else though, I don't know. Yeah, football, that's its own thing.
Yeah.
Baseball,
That's
it's
a
its
that's
own
a
thing.
different thing. Yeah. Um. Yeah, which is funny because I think that would be a good question to bring up in the future. But actually before I forget, um speaking of baseball, I'm sure you heard it. The worst national anthem in history,
Yeah,
from country singer and Grammy nominated country singer Ingrid Andress. I had to look her up because I was like, who is she? I've heard some of her songs. She actually is really good.
yeah,
And so for those who don't know, the MLB All Star weekend, she was the headlining um national anthem singer. And I didn't watch it. I heard about it. I saw videos about it. Well, I've heard about it first, and I heard clips. And a lot of people saying before her the worst national anthem was from Fergie back in the
hmm,
NBA All Star, what, like 2, 3, 4 years ago.
yeah,
And I actually never listened to that one. I had to go back and listen to it because I heard videos. I see people laughing, like the players laughing, and so I had to go watch it, especially after seeing this one. And so I was watching the Fergie one, and I don't know if you remember the Fergie one, but she did a lot of like jazz scats and stuff like that.
yeah.
Uh, I see what she was trying to do. I really do. But but her how it came off,
Her
she didn't
execution of
perform.
it was, woof.
Yes, her execution was horrible. However, I understood what she was trying to do, and if she was trying to pull it off, it would have been great. I know what she was trying to do. She was trying to do kind of like a speakeasy, jazzy type rendition. I get it. However, execution horrible. She should
Yeah,
have kept it very chill, but she tried to go do too much, right? And then you have Ingrid Andress, literally a week ago. However, hers wasn't because she was. If for those who haven't seen it yet, go watch it. But just why I brought up Fergie is that maybe Ingrid Andress kind of gets an asterisk because she wasn't trying to do anything crazy and execution sucked. Turns out she was actually very drunk while she was singing. She admitted after the performance she actually checked herself into rehab. But however, though, drunk or not, for her to continue going through it as if nothing was wrong is very bold. Maybe that was her liquor talking, you know. But wow, that was so bad. Like,
Bro, it was.
wow, like,
I'm surprised she even remembered the words,
yeah.
bro.
I mean,
I'm
that's her
just like,
profession, though, is
it is
to
her
memorize
profession, but
lyrics, you know.
but still, like when you're drunk, like, man, that's
Which
crazy.
is pretty crazy because she didn't look drunk, you know.
No,
She looked
she held it pretty well. I mean,
she held her own. She was able to get and for those who haven't seen it, she was able to get all the words out. It was just like, imagine um I don't know, imagine like you okay, here's a perfect example. Imagine she was sound deaf. That was it. Like, imagine like she was deaf and singing, so, or sound deaf where she couldn't hit the notes. Imagine if, like, I don't know, the MLB um lost their lead singer for the national anthem and it was like, you know what would be cool if we raffled and picked a random audience member, and the audience member they picked happened to be someone who sucked at singing. That's how it was. They knew the words, they still sang it, they looked composed, but just very off key. And so, oh man, I
yeah,
feel
it
bad for her
was,
because I had to look her up because I don't recognize the name, but
mhm.
she is a Grammy nominated country singer. So I had to look her up. I found that she had a Tiny Desk on YouTube, NPR Tiny Desk. So I looked it up. To be fair, you could tell she's a very good she's a singer songwriter type.
Yeah,
For those that don't understand what a singer songwriter is, sometimes they're not the best singer professionally, but like they're professional because they're very good at producing music, writing music, and doesn't always mean you're the best singer. Sometimes we have artists like that. We all know, like um I don't know. I love Taylor Swift, but come on, even Swifty's got to admit she doesn't have the best voice, but she's a singer songwriter. So because it's her own music, she produced, she writes it. It's fucking amazing. I love Taylor Swift's music, but um, I don't know. Put if put Taylor Swift's music catalog and have um I don't know, Kelly Clarkson sing them all.
bro,
You
Kelly
tell me who's a better
Clarkson.
singer.
Oof.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Right? Kelly Clarkson's an
we
amazing
know
singer.
Kelly
Yeah.
Clarkson is a
But you know what I mean though?
fucking
Like
phenomenal singer.
yes, that's what I'm saying. So like, so tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that I'm not wrong. You take all of Taylor Swift's songs, have Kelly Clarkson re-record them all. Tell me who sounds better. Kelly Clarkson will blow Taylor Swift's voice out of the way. But however, Taylor Swift being a singer-songwriter, it just fits better her voice because obviously it's her lyrics, her mind, her soul and spirit.
Right.
So,
Well, yeah,
anyways,
because I mean that's where the feeling is. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
because
So, anyways,
that's half what that is.
right. And so to explain that for those who don't understand, Ingrid Andress is just a really good singer songwriter, and even on her Tiny Desk, she was okay, but her music is good. You know, dude, poor lady, man. Like,
God, I know,
I'm sure she will recover. She has a lot of good music. People, you know, as long as you keep making good music, people will just put this as an asterisk in your history. It's not like she killed anybody. It's not like she punched, had domestic violence. It's not like she peed on somebody. You know what I mean? So she will still have fans supporting her. This is a blip in her career, you
yeah,
know. Um, anyways, go listen to her, support her music. She's doing the best she can. She's going through rehab. She's human still, even though she's a celebrity.
bro,
Yeah.
that's so crazy.
Go run up her national anthem video.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
Yeah, it was.
It was,
I
yeah. I was like, Jesus, what am I listening to? I felt bad, but at the
Yeah,
same time, I was like, I didn't because I was like, oh my God. I mean, granted, it came out the next day, but I was just like, oh, she was drunk. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, when I first listened to it, I was like, what the heck did I just listen
Right.
to? My ears. Um, but yeah, it's still crazy though.
Yeah.
I'm just like, geez, man, it's kind of messed up.
Anyways, keep it short for tonight. That's all I got. Any final words or anything to share that you thought of before we wrap it up tonight?
Um, just I don't know, man. The biggest news I think out of just the world this week or whatever was, one, crowd strike on Friday, but then two, I'm sure people we don't really get into it too much here, especially when Dustin's not here.
Yeah.
But
We're talking about politics. Yeah.
politics. But
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
whew, what a
Yeah. What a turn of events.
it was a turn of events. It was crazy, just like seeing it. I mean, one, you typically don't see a politician actually do, just broad spectrum, broad
Yeah.
overview, step out of the light or do what's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In that regard, like the man's 81. Like,
Yeah.
bro, just go home and enjoy your life, dude.
Yeah.
You've put so many years in the thing. But I think him just, I mean, granted, like it's not only his decision, but I'm sure there was other people talking to him about it, but it's definitely one of those things. I'm like, oh, he actually did it. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
actually stepped down, which is crazy. And then obviously it's just the craziness that has ensued though. Like, obviously then the backing went to Kamala Harris and then
Yeah.
she raised fuck
Yeah.
so much money.
70 million like the first hour it was
Yeah.
announced that she
I think
was
it was
running.
like the first 24 hour or the first 20 hours it was
Yeah.
more than Twisters made in their box office weekend for the movie.
Yeah.
And it was like what was it, the most money ever in a 24-hour period or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
historics. And I'm like,
So let's see.
and what was the stat that I saw yesterday? It was like in the first 24 hours, I think 888,000 people donated to the campaign, and 60% of them were first time donators to any sort of political campaign.
Apparently a lot of Gen Zers are on board.
Yeah, a lot of Gen Zers, and a
Um,
lot of just the millennials that are kind of
but
just in between.
yeah. So Twisters look really good, by the way. I did want to watch that.
Yeah, right.
So Twisters opening weekend at the box office, it made $80.5 million. Kamala Harris in the 24 hours, just 24 hours, not a whole weekend, 24 hours that she announced that she was running, brought in 81 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
like the most
500K more.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just funny because like, now you're seeing all the memes and stuff from like all the other well, one, like Trump, he's like having second thoughts on announcing Vance as his running partner. And I don't know if you watched or saw any highlights of the RNC, but my God, like bro bombed in his opening speech, which is crazy. Yeah, it was funny. I mean, it wasn't funny, but it was funny. It was more just like he literally said like a racist joke, and then he kind of chuckled, and you could hear in the crowd like a couple people chuckling, and he was just like, yeah, so anyways, great. I love you guys. And I was like, what the hell, dude? This guy is bombing this so bad.
Yeah.
No, but it's just crazy to see like one, now Trump is like, oh, I think I made a wrong choice. But I saw this other tweet that was just like Biden waiting to step away until after the RNC concluded to protect his VP and also level up his expert troll level, um, because they spent all the money, doing all of this thing, attacking him, and he's not even going to be there. And their whole
Yeah.
campaign was based on the fact that, old men shouldn't be in the office.
That's a good
Like,
point. So
like,
they were like forcing their hand pretty much.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was interesting, to see both sides going, because, and then
Yeah.
obviously you have all the Republicans against Trump, that are now coming out of the woodworks, like posting all these things, like, look at all these checks that Trump supported Harris with.
Yeah.
So it's just funny to kind of see all this stuff. And like I said, we don't talk about politics
Yeah.
much here,
But
but it's kind of
it's
funny to see
interesting.
like
Yeah.
all of this stuff come out, and you're just like, Jesus, what is happening? Um, you know,
Oh man.
yeah, it's just crazy, just like,
We'll
yeah,
see how
all
it
the stuff
shapes
that's
up.
happening. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, I just want a good candidate.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I don't care. Um, it's just like so much of it's not even like, like moderate, like this is a good candidate, this is a good candidate, I'm going to vote for a good candidate. Nowadays it's very much
Yeah.
like you're either the far right or the far left. There's like no in
Yeah.
between there.
There's no,
And
nope, there's none.
there's really no between anymore, and like even
It,
growing up, it was just like, reading some of the stances and some of the, all the things that their
yeah.
platforms and stuff. When I was first getting into the age of voting, I was like, oh, okay. I was looking at both, and I was just like, okay, I mean, this seems more reasonable than this, and then maybe the next year or
Yeah.
next 4 years would be, this seems more reasonable than that. Now it's just like, what the hell is this? And you get judged by who you voted for. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh boy. So, anyways, like I said, that's why we keep that shit out of here.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's important to talk about, or at least
Oh
touch
yeah.
base on. But
Acknowledge
like,
it. Yeah.
we acknowledge all the stuff that's happening. But like, yeah, it's crazy to see like this is,
Well, I
just
mean, we'll
it's
see
such a
how it
petty
happens next
thing.
week. Yeah. Yeah.
The pettiness levels of like
Yeah.
campaigning. It's like,
Yeah, but that's how it is, man.
no, yeah, and hey, I
Yeah.
know. I mean, I get it. You gotta be cutthroat in politics, but it's just like at the same time, you're like, geez, what are we doing? This
Right.
man once left a cat in a tree, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What are we going for here?
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
It's just crazy like that. That's kind of the proverbial elephant in the room
Hmm.
at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah. In other news, end this on a good note, I guess. I found one of these. Let's see, you can't really see it in the video. That ghost pillow right there.
Ghost pillow.
That is one of the. That thing
Okay.
is viral. Like Costco
Okay.
has like
I haven't seen
seasonal
it.
pillows,
Yeah.
and they have like they have a 4 pillow set that you can
Yeah.
get. It's for like the fall or Halloween.
Yeah.
One's like a bat, black and orange pillow with a bat on it. I think it's ugly. I don't know why anyone will want it. There's like a pillow with like fall colors on it. There's an actual
Yeah.
pumpkin, and then there's a ghost. And so these things obviously went like viral because they're like, oh my God, Costco, they've done it again. There's great things. Um, and so like when I had gone a few weeks ago, like I was like, oh nice, they have the pumpkin. Let me grab the pumpkin.
Yeah.
And the other one, they're just a normal pillow with a picture of a pumpkin on it. So we were able to get those, but then the ghost one is just, it's so cute that so many people were just like, that was the one to get. So we're like, oh okay,
Yeah.
cool. That thing is like, it's crazy. Like you can't find that thing anywhere. And there was just one Costco yesterday. It was just I was hungry and I didn't have my lunch with me. I forgot it. And I was like, what can I get for cheap
Hmm.
that I don't really want to pay? Because I don't really want to buy lunch right now, but I'm going to get something. And I did have to make a trip over to the spot where the, close to my work,
Yeah.
to grab something. And I was like, oh, there's a Costco over here. I'll just go and get Costco for lunch because I can probably get out of there spending less than $5 on food. Because if I get a hot dog, it's $1.50. If I get a slice
Yep.
of pizza, it's $2. Like I can get out of here super cheap.
That never happens in a Costco.
I was like, perfect. So I went in there and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna walk by the bedding and all that stuff to see, because each Costco has their different things.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking by, I walk by like the pillows and like decorative pillows and stuff, and I was just like, I looked over and I'm like, oh shit, they got the little ghost pillow here. So then I grabbed one. They had a handful in there, so
Yeah.
Most of the Costco's have like 3 boxes out when they first get them, and then they dwindle down. And there was just 1 box left at this Costco, and I saw it, and I was like, oh shit. So I went over, found a good one, grabbed it. He's obviously just sitting back there now. It'll be a nice little accent pillow on the couch later.
Yeah.
But no, I grabbed that, and then I went and got a slice of pizza, and then I dipped, went back to work.
There you go.
Brought it home, and it was just like, oh my god, you found it. It was, it's like one of those things, because it's just so rare. And I was like, oh yeah, they had like 10 of them. And Allie being Allie was just never, like,
yeah,
she was like, oh my god, you should have just bought all 10, and then we could have sold them. I mean, we could have flipped them.
Yeah.
For the StockX. No, it was just one of those things. But she was like, oh, I should have had you grab one for one of her coworkers.
Yeah.
So I went back today, because I was like, fuck it, I'll just go over there. I'll just have cheap lunch again. And I really want to try their like turkey and Swiss sandwich that they have on the menu. And I was like, I'll try it. Why not? I've been wanting to try it. That's a good excuse. Went in there, they only had 2 ghost pillows left. So I was like, oh, guess I'm grabbing one. I guess someone found out about it and they put it out there, and then everyone flocked and grabbed some. So
that's how they do it.
So I got one and for her coworker, and then I got a sandwich, and then I went back to work. So it was one of those things. Didn't bring my lunch last couple of days, and I've spent a grand total of less than $10.
Oh, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, pizza's $2 and and the sandwich is $6.99 or $5.99 or $6.99. Either way, it's still less than $10 combined.
That's how they get you, because everything else you'll walk out with $200 of groceries.
But you'll feel great on the fact that you bought a $1.50 hot dog and a drink.
Yeah,
for $1.50. Can't get that anywhere.
Psychologically, man.
Yeah, you're like, you know what? That's fine. I have this, and that's all that matters. Doesn't matter that I have a hole in my pocket now.
Yeah.
But, whatever. Just throw it on the Costco credit card, get my 4% back or 3% back or whatever it is, and call it a day.
Well, thanks, man. Everyone go out and find that ghost pillow, and then get yourself a nice meal at the food court at Costco. And as we're signing off, we'll end with our favorite saying: keep the dialogue going. That's how we learn and grow. So keep talking, keep thinking, keep growing together. And we'll see y'all next time.